Joining me now is none other than Alex Kozachenko, who is CEO at HyperBeard. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So I wanted to sort of ask you, HyperBeard, as you all know, has a unique approach to games. You guys sort of have your own aesthetic, you have your own sort of narrative and casual gameplay. So how do you balance creativity? Because this is obviously, you know, a very creative space with commercial viability. I feel like this is sort of the million-dollar question, but what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. So I would say they're really combined. We know that we get users from our aesthetic design.
Right.
We do a lot of testing before we even start making a game to make sure that the game can bring in a lot of organic users. And sometimes that does mean running a degree of paid to kind of measure that out. But we know that is first and foremost our key to success. And inherent in the cute casual space is actually, you know, it's a bit of a challenge because it is sort of these users that don't necessarily monetize that well. When we started it with our first game called Kleptocats in 2016, we said we were targeting quasi-gamers. These are people who had just started playing games on mobile. But this audience has evolved over time, and what we try to do is kind of evolve with them with our monetization schemes. Now, I'd say that I'd like to say that we've fully captured that opportunity, but I think our audience has probably evolved even more than our products have, and so that is one of our big challenges, is to meet them where they're at, because they are playing games that are extremely successful commercially, not just our games, and we want to make sure we capture the full value of those users.
Right, and obviously HyperBeard is very much rooted in the hyper-casual space. This is a space that, you know, has rapid evolution, rapid competition, fierce competition. So how do you see yourself differentiating yourself from this competition in the coming years? Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Sure, so a boutique publisher was a term that was thrown around, I would say 4 years ago, where these publishers would specialize in a particular game type that appealed to a particular audience. And I feel like HyperBeard is one of the last remaining ones in that space. Obviously, we are the cute casual game publisher. But the nice thing about that is you can really keep people around in a portfolio, right? We don't, at a certain point, no matter how good a show is, you're going to burn out, right? You know, maybe Game of Thrones could have kept going.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't end well, at least from a viewing perspective. But you know, at a certain point, usually you get 3 or 4 seasons in, and they close it off, not just because, you know, the actors don't want to go anymore, but because people are burning out, right? And eventually, what we do is we want to move people to new products. Now, there's always the do you go deeper or do you go wider? We've kind of, I'd say, skewed on the side of going wider and making sure we have products that people can move into. The challenge is going deeper. I said we want to meet our users where they're at in terms of monetization to capture the full value. Sometimes when you do go wider, you lose that kind of deep approach.
Yeah.
And that's something that we need to do better. But I think if we can capture that, and while still kind of expanding out, eventually, you know, you kind of get what you basically would call monopoly. Right now, it's a monopoly over a, so to speak, a niche area of the gaming market, but it's a fairly big niche, right? Cozy games now is a term that has been thrown out in the last couple of years, but we've been making these games for the last 7 years.
I feel like you guys are, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like you guys are a real pioneer in this space, like this sort of like cute casual gaming space.
Yeah, I guess so, and we kind of just happened upon the space. And like I said, the nice thing is it is very good with the organics. The browsing behavior of our users aligned really well with the marketing, right? Because you can create a hardcore game and it can make a lot of money. It's really hard to get downloads, and they're really expensive. For us, we knew how to get a lot of free downloads, and that was what we were good at. And so everything just aligned really well for the business model. Now, obviously, a lot of money flooded into the market. A lot of games are coming out, as you said, and those organics are becoming harder to get. And so that's where we do need to start going deeper in these games so we can run a bit more UA.
Brilliant stuff, Alex. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.